is a key ingredient that brings it all together. That ingredient is sunfoil, pure sunflower cooking oil, made from only the finest sunflower seeds. It's a perfect way to enhance the taste of your family's favorite foods. Sunfoil cooking oil is more than just oil. It's the key to bring your family together over a delicious meal and making every bite taste better. Remember, the key ingredient to a great family meal is sunfoil. Tradition just tastes better.
Abdullah is a livestock farmer in Mozambique. He provides food for his family of 6, sends 2 children to school, and buys medication for his elderly mother. All this is made possible through Africa Muslims Agency's Qurbani program. AMA trains small-scale farmers to raise quality livestock that provides an income for their family, as well as food for their communities. Sponsor your Qurbani in Africa for 1,900 Rand, South Africa for 2,950 Rand, or various countries around the world. Donate online at africamuslimsagency.co.za. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Come get our butcher's best fillets at Checkers Foods Cowie Park. Enjoy certified halal butchery products like Steakhouse Classic Porterhouse Steak for just 39 Rand per 300 grams, chicken breast fillet 69.99 per kg, tenderized beef steak 89.99 per kg, extra lean beef mince for just 99.99. Deals valid until Sunday, June 23rd, only at Checkers Foods Cowie Park, now certified by the NIHT, the National Independent Halal Trust, across our butchery, bakery, and deli.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest and presenters of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and opinions of Radio Al Ansar and the Al Ansar Foundation.
The Breakfast Rush, brought to you courtesy of the Willow Tin Group, at the forefront of innovation and one of the leading competitors in the South African FMCG market.
So, as you may be aware, over the past 2 weeks, public universities have sent offers to tens of thousands of grade 11 and matric students who applied for admission. However, this means hundreds of thousands of prospective students who did not make the cut did not receive an offer of provisional admission, which is severely impacting their plans for the future. Now, online forums are awash with parents seeking guidance on how to navigate this situation, both in terms of what they must do now, as well as seeking advice on how to help their child cope with the disappointment. So joining us online to discuss this further is the acting dean for a higher learning institution, no stranger to the show, Adrian. Good morning once again, and welcome back to the Breakfast Rush.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Always a pleasure having you on the show. And for those of you that are listening in now, you can watch the interview as well. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well. Adrian, can you elaborate on the challenges students and parents face during the university application process and how they manage their stress and anxiety?
Indeed. I think the biggest stress really comes from the fact that there are so few places in the public university environment. On an annual basis, all the universities essentially just accept about 200,000 students. And obviously we have a lot more students who are applying. So the pressure of trying to be admitted or accepted with so few places, I think is causing a great deal of stress at the moment. And almost unnecessarily so, because I think there are options available if you look beyond the public university space.
What alternative education options are available for students who may not be accepted into their preferred public university, and how can they benefit from these pathways?
Well, I think it really does depend on your strengths, and it's advice that I usually give to parents as well as students, because in some cases, parents or caretakers really want to kind of push a certain field on their child because that's almost the field that they're interested in. Whereas the student or the child could actually be quite strong from a practical point of view, which means that a vocational path might be the better option for them, in which case you've got your TVET colleges that you can go to. In some cases, you don't necessarily need to be in a physical space. You can do distance education. And there are a lot of very credit-worthy and quality education provisions in the distance space as well. I think it really just depends on that the discussion with the student about what is in their best interest and what will bring out their strengths in the learning path that they choose. There's other options as well. So somebody who wants to go straight into kind of the practical experience with learnerships and internships, and once they've got their foot in the door in terms of a practical application, then they can come in and study alongside that, if you consider the distance option as well. So I think there's a multitude of combinations that you can choose. For those students that didn't get great marks, there's always the option to bring those marks up with bridging courses, and ultimately as well, there's the private higher education option as well, where the private higher education institutions offer qualifications that are accredited by exactly the same people who accredit your public university qualifications.
Indeed. We'll get to bridging courses on that in a second, but can you explain really quickly the difference between technical and vocational training colleges, distance learning, private higher education institutions, and how can students go about choosing the right fit for them?
Yeah, I think the TVET option is really your vocational or training. So it's really your practical field, where you've got things like engineering, healthcare, even the practical information technology courses that are available. Very often there's a flexible admission there for students as well, so it's not as stringent to get into courses like that as well. Your distance learning is really just a different way of offering a higher education qualification. The qualification is accredited very much like a contact qualification. And the only difference really is that the student can access the education online and at a time that suits them. So very often people who are employed will follow the distance learning option because it's flexible. So you can go home in the evenings, you can pick up the course, you can study the course in the evenings, and really it fits in very nicely with your working life. And then obviously you've got your private higher education institutions where, like I said before, the qualifications are accredited just like your publics, and it is offered in a similar way to the publics as well, where it's contact sessions, you go to class, you have lecturers, and it's a full-time course.
How can bridging courses and foundation programs support students who need to meet direct entry requirements for university? And what are the benefits of these programs?
Our studies reveal that the transition year into tertiary education is the most important year, and it's the year where most students fall out or drop out. So, and it's not necessarily because they don't have the academic skill. It is just really a big transition. So your foundation programs are essential because they give you the building blocks upon which to build the rest of your studies. It does mean that you might have another half a year or a year to your studies, but that year just creates such a solid foundation that for the rest of the time in your tertiary studies, you are on a much better footing, and your results will see the benefits of that. A bridging course is, for example, if you want to go into a course where there's a very high criteria for maths or for science, for example, then your bridging course you can go into, and you can work on that bridging course. You can improve your results, and you can use those results to apply for the course that you're interested in.
Final question for this morning. How can parents and students ensure that the private higher education institute they choose is registered and accredited? And what checks should they do?
Absolutely. It's scary how many privates, fly under the radar almost. And the private space has this stigma attached where all privates are what people would call fly by night. So it really is absolutely critical that you do your checks and you're 100% sure that a private higher education institution is accredited. They are accredited with the department. You can go onto their website, you can look for the name of the institution, and you can find the registration number there as well. When you go onto premises, so for example, our premises, any of our campuses have the official certificate visible, and anybody who comes onto our campuses can have a look at those registration certificates and validate the authenticity. So those are the two main ways, because what you find on the website can't be forged, it can't be changed in any way, it isn't regulated in any way by the private itself, it's regulated by the department.
I want to thank you for your time this morning and bringing this info to our listeners, and wish you and your team success in your endeavors.
Indeed, thank you very much, and have a good day further.
You as well. That's Acting Dean for Higher at a Higher Learning Institute, Adrian Garden. No stranger to the show, no stranger to the listeners of Radio Al Ansar. It is your breakfast rush. Vodacom's going to be giving you that chance to be a winner shortly.